Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could, you like the content here, please subscribe. That'd mean a lot to me. And thanks for stopping by. So, rumor mill season, it's fodder season, as we said. You know, it was the Battle of the Whales. For those who didn't see the last video, you could see the conflict, that the battle within with old Tobes. I will say, look, I'm a little more guarded. Whatever happens this summer, I don't think I'm going to be as duped, tricked, I don't know, as into it. Then again, who knows? Once we get into the spinning wheels of this thing, I'm not really sure. But as far as rumors are concerned, there was an interesting one that came out today regarding Donovan Mitchell, and really the original point of this article from Sam Amico, who has, you know, a checkered past with, I think, the Heat fan, with this this fan base. Sam Amico covered Cleveland stuff for a while. I honestly think he was one of the first guys to report that there was interest in LeBron James returning back to Cleveland when all that was going on. Turned out he was right. We hated his guts at that point. I know he doesn't have, I guess, the best national rep, whatever. But let's just have some fun with old Meeks and see what he's got to say here. So his report is from Hoops Wire, all right, and it says that so this is what it writes here, and it says from Hoops Wire, according to NBA insider Jovan Buha, The Athletic, Cleveland Cavalier star Donovan Mitchell is the Lakers' #1 trade target. However, don't expect Mitchell to land with the Lakers. A source told Hoops Wire that Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert, quote, would never trade Mitchell to the Lakers. Mitchell does not have a no-trade clause in his contract. So this is, all right, so he's not going to go to the Lakers. According to this, Dan Gilbert doesn't want to help LeBron James, which is interesting, of course, because a lot of people in the runaround of a couple weeks ago when LeBron James shows up to the Cleveland Cavaliers game, people are wondering, what's up with that? Was he scouting Donovan Mitchell? Was he flirting with the idea of coming back to the Cleveland Cavaliers? Look, if this was at the other foot, if he was sitting courtside for a Heat playoff game, definitely the rumors would have run rampant. But apparently, if this report is true, Dan Gilbert doesn't seem so keen on helping Lakers. Now, mind you, there's a couple things that flip up here with Dan Gilbert. Dan Gilbert was obviously very against LeBron James coming to the Miami Heat. Crazy Comic Sans letter. Then, of course, worked in the shadows against, you know, Pat Riley and the Miami Heat with LeBron James, but basically bent the knee, gave him whatever he wanted. LeBron worked on basically one-year deals the entire time. They held his feet to the fire, and it wasn't the greatest breakup by the end of things. You know, they weren't trading the assets that he wanted traded to make the moves. Eventually, the breakup happened again, although LeBron did deliver him an NBA championship. It seemed like a very frosty relationship at the time, and maybe some ill will is still there. But the interesting thing is the Miami Heat are mentioned in this article as well, and the article goes on to write, it says, if Mitchell does not decide to extend with the Cavaliers, Gilbert and company opt to trade the guard out of fear of losing him for nothing in 2025. The Lakers, Miami Heat, Brooklyn Nets, New Orleans Pelicans, Houston Rockets, and Memphis Grizzlies are expected to try and trade for Mitchell, sources tell Hoops Wire. Gilbert and Kobe Altman would look for a lucrative package of multiple draft picks and one or two young players with star potential in a Mitchell trade. For example, a source says to Hoops Wire that the Cavaliers would ask for Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez Jr. from the Miami Heat in Mitchell trades if it gets to that point. While Gilbert and LeBron's current relationship is better than it was back in 2010 when LeBron left the Cavaliers for the Heat, a source tells Hoops Wire that Gilbert trading Mitchell to the Lakers to help LeBron be, quote, ridiculous. So, this is interesting from a couple of standpoints. Obviously, the frostiness that appears like it's still there with Dan Gilbert and LeBron James has not dissipated. But the interesting thing is that he would be willing to trade him to the Heat, where obviously there's some frostiness there. But there have been trades with the Miami Heat and the front office. Of course, they dealt D. Wade back to Miami when he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they facilitated and helped facilitate the Max Strus deal last year. So this is not a burnt bridge as far as Miami and Cleveland is concerned anymore, with the LeBron James thing being in the past. And I do think that, look, yes, the Lakers draft picks would certainly appear to be more enticing than the Miami Heat, because you're kind of betting on the clock there on LeBron James and this running out. But even if you were to facilitate Donovan Mitchell and Anthony Davis together for a duo, if that's something that Donovan Mitchell even wants to do, because I don't know what Donovan Mitchell's relationship is with Anthony Davis. Maybe it's fantastic. I'm ignorant on that. I don't know. I know that he has a great relationship with Bam Adebayo. So if he is going to not sign an extension, he does have some say in where he wants to go. But we've never really heard, at least I haven't heard, like Donovan Mitchell wanting to go to the Lakers. National media just assumes always everybody wants to play for the Lakers. With him, I've always heard New York, Miami. Those have been the places that he wants to go. Obviously, his big affinity for D. Wade, his relationship with the Heat center. But it would be interesting to actually have a summer workout where people would prefer him to the Orca, the star, the potential trade target, to actually go to the Miami Heat as opposed to another place, because last year it very much felt like the Miami Heat were handcuffed, because it felt like the entire league was against Damian Lillard coming to the Miami Heat, because they didn't want Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo to have their perfect fit star with them. And quite frankly, I think they all felt like the Miami Heat and Damian Lillard colluded in some way to make this happen. And the media, the front offices, the Heat's rivals, all of them felt very much like the Heat, for the first time ever, a star didn't get to go where they wanted to go, and it felt like the rivals were all working in cahoots to keep Damian Lillard. Now, in fairness, it felt like the Heat and Damian Lillard and his agent very much were working together too, but it felt like once they realized that plan, it was like Voltron coming together to keep the Miami Heat from getting their star. This would be an interesting case, obviously, if it is true. But let's just say, for the sake of let's just have some fun, baby. Let's say it is. This is interesting because you have Dan Gilbert's pettiness against trading LeBron, a star, and the place that he'd actually want to go, and the people or pieces that they would want. And this is an interesting piece, because we haven't heard a lot of places when these reports come out that they would say, oh yeah, we would want that guy and we will want that guy. Specific players. And mind you, Cleveland, it's nice to say, hey, we want all these picks, but they have picks. And then, which is cool, but you really, if you're Cleveland, there's going to be an element to you that, like, hey, you still want to remain competitive. You do want guys who can contribute to winning now. And, you know, I mean, Tyler Hero, I mean, the national media is going to sit here and tell you Austin Reeves is better than Tyler Hero. Whatever. I don't want to do that debate now, but it'll be a thing that they try and do. Rui Hachimura or whatever young guys they try and throw there, like you just have. You get Jaime Jaquez Jr. in a trade like this, who just got named first team all rookie. Yeah, as I've said in these lead ups, I'm like, the Heat have attractive assets. much more attractive than they have been. Like last year, okay, it was a bit of a novelty. We all thought Nikola Jovic was going to be something, but we didn't really know. We thought Jaime Jaquez Jr. was going to be a nice player coming into the league, but we didn't know. Now we know. And teams know. And teams are like, oh, those are good players. Who would want them? They're on the cheap skis. We can't keep this star. We want to get something for him. Yeah, we could roll the dice on picks from 1,000 years ago, or we can get somebody who is ready to help us contribute right now. So those are the couple of things that I find interesting, particularly about this report, should it be true, is one, Dan Gilbert still petty with LeBron to a point where he will not trade him, his top guy, to help LeBron James get another ring. Two, Cleveland, Miami seems like a more mended bridge, especially between front offices that have worked together in recent past since all the LeBron stuff has dissipated. And three, that we have names that are already, there's been reports from Windhorst, right? Like the trade proposals are already ready. So it's possible Cleveland already knows what Miami's going to offer, and maybe this is the package that they are most intrigued by. And we also know that Dan Gilbert it is reported that he is going to be very involved in these trades. And so if there is a petty spite battle, it appears it is more with his quibble is more with helping LeBron James than it is helping Pat Riley in the Miami Heat, where it felt like everybody was really working against the Miami Heat last year. So interesting development, if true, for the summer.